Thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Katrina, for having us join you all on running through the training presentation today. My name's James. I'm alongside my colleague Alex Warner as well. We're both with Applied Survey Research. Applied Survey Research has been working with the coalition for probably 20 or more years to assist with the point in time count in Monterey and San Benito counties. So happy to be joining you all again for this year's pit count. Thank you all for joining us and carving out a little time. I'm sure a lot of you have seen some emails kind of floating around. Hopefully, you've had have met with us or had a chance to check out the PIT website and kind of get caught up. Today's presentation, we're really going to be focusing on kind of the training aspect of things and making sure everybody is kind of current and up to date with the process for this year's PIT count. We'll go through some of the tools and also kind of review some of the planning documents and organization documents that we have posted on the PIT Count website this year, just to make sure everyone has all the tools that they need. One of the things that we've kind of pushed hard to do this year is really allow for all volunteers via our PIT website just to have all the tools laid out in one centralized location. And we'll review that in a little bit. But as of now, everything that you'll need for the count in a couple weeks is fully online at our PIT Count website, and you can pull down and retrieve right now. So we'll go through that in a little bit, but just to just so everyone knows that all the information is all kind of at your fingertips, ready to go. Hopefully you all have had a chance to go through the volunteer registration portion, and from there we've received your email, and you've probably seen a few emails kind of coming through from the ASR Pit Count team. Alex did go ahead and put that website link into the chat as well. So whenever you get a chance and get off the call, feel free to check that out, and we'll review some of the links and information there. But rest assured, if there's one thing to kind of take away from this training today, it's really all the information you need for the entire pit count process will be right there on that link. So for today's presentation, Alex and I are going to kind of take you through the whole process. If you've participated in the pit count in previous years, it's a pretty similar process and methodology wise, as well as the tools that we'll be using. We try to keep the tools as consistent as possible. So if you've participated in previous years, everything should hopefully look pretty familiar. And as you kind of dig back into it, hopefully it feels familiar to you once you get in there. Additionally, if this is your first time, no worries there as well. We have a few different training opportunities that you can kind of check out, and YouTube videos that can kind of help you out. But at the end of the day, it's really a matter of downloading on the day of the count, downloading an app and accessing the survey. And once you have that, with the skip logic that's kind of built into the survey instrument, it's pretty straightforward and kind of forces you into answering a certain number of questions, the basic demographic questions that are required for the pit count. And it should be pretty intuitive for you there. On the day of the count, we'll also have a kind of in-person help center, as well as a phone number that you can contact if any questions or comments come up. So you'll have some support on the day of as well. So for today's presentation, I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation here in a minute to kind of go through the process, and before I kind of hand things over to Alex to get into the nitty-gritty of the tools that we'll be using on the count. We anticipate the PowerPoint presentation is about a 20 to 25 20 to 30-minute presentation, and then we're kind of setting aside the second half of this meeting as kind of like we're calling it like an office hour Q&A type session. So if you after we're done with the first half of this meeting, if you're feeling comfortable and all ready to go, feel free to go ahead and log off. However, if you're feeling like you kind of have a more specific question that you would like to ask the pit count team, me, Alex, and Andrew and Katrina will likely be around to kind of help answer those questions in the second half of the meeting. In this presentation, we're going to kind of do a little bit of a quick recap. I know we've kind of covered this if you've attended any of the previous meetings, just the general purpose of the point-in-time count, how to conduct the really meat and potatoes of this presentation is really getting into like how to conduct the count, the next steps, and really all the specific tools and maps and kind of getting into the nitty-gritty of what you'll be doing on the day of the count. And then we're going to wrap up with some quick reminders and next steps, and any kind of additional tips and tricks that you'll need for the count. So why we do the count? The Department of Housing and Urban Development requires a point-in-time count done to be completed every 2 years. The given timing threshold that they are allow the count to be done is the last 10 days of January. So all communities throughout the United States will be doing the count in this last 10-day period. So that is kind of the main reason we're all here. Also, in addition to that, we've through the survey that's a component of the count, as well as the general kind of more regional specific information that we collect, has kind of informed local and state initiatives in terms of policy decisions. So the pit count number and the pit count information that's collected is a vital piece to the overall landscape. So we're thankful that you all are joining us and helping to get the most accurate count we possibly can this year. There are several components to the pit count. Obviously, the real key focus of our effort this year, as in previous years, is the street count. That is the most tricky. I mean, it's the trickiest piece of the pit count process. Obviously, there's the shelter count information, but we have the benefit of extracting data from the HMIS housing inventory system, which is a pretty clean export. The general street count, we canvass all census tracts in Monterey and San Benito counties. So obviously, there's a lot of planning and an effort that goes into ensuring that we have teams set up to cover all those census tracts. In addition to the general adult count that we are conducting in the morning of the 29th, there is also an afternoon count where we have a few additional teams that are kind of focusing on the youth count portion as well. In addition to the overall, so those two major buckets comprise our street count portion, and then in the following several weeks, we also have a survey portion as well. So the count, the shelter count, and the street count give us our overall number of individuals experiencing homelessness on the day of the count, and then our survey, we're also able to kind of glean some additional information, whether that's cause of homelessness, various services that could be helpful to those experiencing homelessness, or barriers to seeking out housing is another kind of a topic area. So that gives us a lot more additional information that we can work with there as well. How in terms of how our kind of pit count process works, first I wanted to kind of take a quick step back and just kind of say where we're at. with the whole process. So beginning in October or November, we really kind of ramped up efforts to increase volunteer registration. Kind of throughout that whole process, we in that October, November, December months, we were really also reaching out to some of the primary outreach teams in Monterey and San Benito counties to get a feel for what areas they view as kind of priority tracks and areas that we should ensure we have specialty teams. So we've kind of did the little scan of the counties to really get a feel for those priority tracks. And again, we do cover all census tracts. So we kind of have a map of both San Benito and Monterey counties, all kind of broken out by census tracts. And then we began the process of working with outreach teams and service providers that are, out there every single day, working with these lived experience populations to ensure that we have the best teams possible to cover those areas. So we kind of went through that process and really giving those outreach teams the opportunity to select as many tracks as they're capable of taking on. However, that is, there are obviously still a lot of remaining tracks and important tracks to cover. And we have then put together a track selection tool. So hopefully you all have had a chance to see that track selection tool, but everyone that has signed up to participate in the count should have received a track selection tool, which allows teams to sign up to take on a particular tract. We recommend most teams can cover anywhere from 1 to 3 or 4 tracks. So hopefully everyone on the call that has volunteered has either kind of selected their tracks through our outreach and service provider channels, or had a chance to select a tract via the track selection tool. So those are some of our kind of preliminary planning documents. In Monterey County, we also do have the opportunity, if you're feeling like you need some additional support with your assigned tract area, need any additional information, we do have a in-person kind of deployment site hub that you can feel free to stop by, and we can get you some materials. We can kind of give you a little bit of a rundown, essentially get you up to speed if you feel like there's anything you're missing. So that deployment center is the Veteran Transition Center in Marina. So that's kind of serving as our hub starting at 5 a.m. So anything that you'll need, you can receive that information there. However, if you're feeling comfortable with all the tools that you've been able to access online, it is not a requirement to attend the deployment centers. Again, all the information, the maps, the training, the app download, as well as the survey instrument itself, are all available online right now. So essentially, if we were to do the gear up for the count, as soon as tomorrow, everybody should have all the information they need accessible to them. At the conclusion of the pit count, we'll have a phone number that you can call just to ensure that we received your data submission. We kind of call that our pit hotline. So we'll have a 800 number that you can call and just send. Not a complicated voicemail process or anything. It's straight to our office, our ASR office, where we have staffing on call to field your call and just confirm that your submission was sent through, and you'll be good to go. Additionally, if we'll get into the guides here in a little bit, but if you're lived experience guides, those are all paid positions. So if they need any receive any payment, or you just prefer to, at the conclusion of your count, prefer to stop by our deployment center and kind of do a little sign out process, we'll be there as well to field any questions and get your guides paid as well. Most folks that are signing up on our volunteer list, we're suggesting that teams sign up. So rather than kind of individuals signing up, we prefer folks who have kind of assembled a team and then sign up. That allows, really the counting process really works best when there's teams of two to four folks on a team. Typically, there's a driver, and then there's also the second person can be kind of handling the app submissions, and then also a third and fourth person, if possible, to be around just to be kind of spotters and help collaborate with the team to make those decisions. In terms of day of logistics, the street count is all set up to be a visual count. So all the information that you're going to be answering in the app is all designed just to be observation based only. Obviously, we have the survey component, which will be done in the weeks following the actual pit count. But in terms of what you're going to be doing on the day of the count, all the information is designed to be completed on a visual basis only. So this isn't an interview of those experiencing homelessness on the day of the count. It's purely a visual count. Our street count time frame, we are recommending teams take off at 5 a.m. And over the years, we've got some questions about this, and this is kind of a HUD recommendation in terms of timeline. The major focus here is avoiding duplication. Like I mentioned earlier, we will be receiving information from the various shelters throughout the counties of those that are experiencing homelessness, staying at those shelters on the night of the count. We want to ensure that we are avoiding duplication with shelter releases. So ideally, and this is especially important in areas with shelters located in your census tracts, it's very important to get those counts done as quickly as possible in the areas adjacent to the shelter to ensure that we are counting folks that are out on the streets on the day of the count, and not those that may be sleeping in the shelter that night.
James, we have a couple of questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Thanks too. First one is this is city's first pit count. They're not part of a team right now. Will they be assigned one?
Actually, I just messaged with someone, and I am going to join someone's team.
Oh, perfect.
But thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So I should note that if you are signing up as an individual, just let us know shoot us an email, and there's always a decent amount of folks that are willing to kind of add you to an existing team, or we can kind of partner up a few folks that are signed up individually to kind of put some teams together. So that's something we can work with. So definitely don't if you don't have a team, don't feel like that's a barrier. Let us know, and we'll make something work with you. Andrew, is there sorry, I'm in presenter mode, so Andrew, feel free to. I can't see the comments that well, but feel free to chime in if there's any other ones.
There's a second question, but it's pretty similar to the first question.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you hit on it.
All right. So I also did want to touch on the kind of two main roles that we have on the count. So we have our community volunteers, which are I think a lot of which are probably represented on the call here today. Who are volunteering their time, or maybe working with their organization, whether jurisdiction or county that has allowed them to participate on the day of the count. And then we also have our folks with lived experience, kind of throughout their process. we refer to them as our guides, as they're really kind of guiding us to do the best work we possibly can, guiding us into areas and lending their expertise during the count. That is a paid position, so any guide who is participating in the count will be compensated at a rate of $20 per hour, and again, that'll be paid cash, and the payment can be made at our deployment center. Again, that's the Veterans Transition Center in Arena. In terms of what our pit day will look like, again, we're hoping that teams begin the process at 5 a.m. So if you're coming to a deployment center, you're going to receive a hard copy map if you would like, or additionally, again, as of now, the maps are all available online as well. You can download your map and download a PDF copy and print it so you'll be ready to go. The Esri Survey 123 app, it's kind of a two-step process to get that survey pulled up on your phone. The first step is to download the Esri Survey 123 app onto your smartphone, and then once you have that, you'll click on a link or scan a QR code to actually pull up the survey itself. We have a separate about 10-minute training that YouTube link that you can view, and it kind of takes you through the whole process. It's a phone recording, and it shows you on your smartphone how to access the Esri Survey 123 app, and then how to access the survey as well. Teams will go out and canvass and observe their entire census tract. Teams that have 2 or 3 census tracts, you'll do 2 or 3 submissions. However many census tracts, it's how many submissions you'll be entering into your smartphone. Again, once you're all wrapped up and you've completed your assigned census tracts, you can either return to the deployment center or call the PIT hotline just to check in and confirm that all your data was successfully uploaded. Just a reminder that teams must complete all routes they've been assigned. Once you've gone through the track selection process, we are counting on you to complete that census tract. So if anything comes up, please reach out to us. Within the track selection tool, you'll select which track you're interested in covering. If things have changed, you get sick, you can't participate, please reach out to us, shoot us an email so we can open that track back up and allow another team to claim that track and ensure that we have coverage. So again, I mentioned a couple slides ago about some of the differences between our volunteers and our guides. So our guides and our outreach staff, we're really banking on them to use their knowledge of the area, both of the areas and of the population, to help identify individuals experiencing homelessness. Guides show the team locations in the various route areas and census tracts that are likely to have individuals experiencing homelessness. One of the things that comes up a lot is some teams will be going to areas that they might not be familiar with. But again, we're hoping that both the guides and outreach teams can just bank on their general knowledge of those that are experiencing homelessness to help identify those that might be experiencing homelessness in that census tract. The volunteers, they're going to provide consultation and support in making the general team decisions. Typically, the volunteers serve as our drivers, which is a huge role for us, and and help ensure full coverage of the tract assignment areas.
James,
all right.
With a quick question here.
Yeah.
Where can we pick up the track? So where can they pick up their track assignment? This is good.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. I'll cover it in a little bit, but if you've gone through the volunteer registration sign-up process, you should have received an email to select your tract. that is all done, the track selection, and I'll show you in a few slides here at the end of the presentation. That's all via the pit count website that Alex shared in the chat. So Alex, maybe you can share that link again. But on the website, there's a track selection tool that you can click the link, and there's on the track selection tool, it'll pop a fresh link, and it'll show you, I think the color is red if it's an unavailable track, blue if it's an available track. Any of the blue available tracks are up for grabs, and feel free to select those.
There's also another one, and I think you might be covering this as well too, but does everyone in the group need to download the app, or is it just one person? Right?
Yeah, so one person is going to be the keeper of the app. So only one person per team. So whoever's the most tech savvy, or a combination of kind of tech savvy, and then also the person that won't be the primary driver. I would recommend that person take on the app duty, if you will. And again, when you do the app, it'll ask for some basic information, your name and email, and that's just for a way. At the conclusion of the count, we're going to send each person just a kind of a little recap of what they counted. We just want to be ensure. It's almost an additional level of security for us, of like, hey, this is what you reported. Is this what you saw? Just to confirm that there's no funkiness between what you observed on the day of the count and then what was received by us on the back end of things. All right, I'm going to pass things over to my colleague Alex, and he's going to take it from here for a few slides and really get into our data collection forms, what they look like, how the app looks, what the app looks like, what the maps look like, and kind of give you a little rundown on the tools themselves. Go for it, Alex.
Thanks, James. As James said, I'm going to be jumping into a lot of the Survey 123 instrument and a lot of the maps in these next following slides. So feel free to go ahead, James, and next slide. So this is more or less what the map will look like. After you've signed up via the track selection tool, there's now two ways to get your maps. You can go on that pit count website that I've been posting in the chat, or you can show up to the deployment site on the morning of the count and pick up the large-scale version of the map. There'll be an 11 by 17 on a really high-quality piece of paper, and it'll be really easy to kind of navigate your way through your tracks. As you can see, the maps are outlined with the tracked borders. So you'll stay within those tracked borders and count down each one of those roads, alleys, areas, essentially, that are in that purple outlined area. So the count persons are persons experiencing homelessness. This includes, go ahead and go back real quick. This includes people in tents, vehicles, parks, sidewalks, etc. So again, you'll drive down all the roads and count on both sides of the street unless it's a route border. If you're counting on one of those route borders, you'll only count the folks on the inside side of the street, or the side of the street that's connected essentially to the rest of your map. If there's someone jumping back and forth across the street on a route border, feel free to include them. So you kind of determine your own route you take through these maps. So if a route works better for you, say you have the map that's to the right in the white side, it's 11902, you would essentially create a route that would lead you from once you finish that purple route, it would be an easy transition over to your next route if it's contiguous. And it's also a good idea to mark like an X or use a highlighter to jot down the areas that you've already counted so you don't go over them again. Next slide, James. So this is how you go ahead and download the smartphone app. It's called Survey 123. Like James said earlier, it's all available on the website right now. So if you click on the survey link, it'll give you a link to download it either on Google Play or on the App Store, depending if you're on iPhone or Android. In the event that you accidentally don't allow the location services, on iPhone, you'll go to your settings, go to the Survey 123 app, go to location, and then select while using the app. And if you're on Android, you'll go to your settings, personal, go to the location settings, and make sure it's enabled. aside from that, there's not really much else about the app. You just kind of got to download it and make sure it's allowing your settings. Next slide, James. This is what the observation form will look like. I should have mentioned it on a previous slide, but also on our website, there's a QR code in the bottom right corner of the website. If you use your cell phone, use your camera, and just scan that QR code, it'll pop up our survey. So that's how you'll be able to open this observation form. The first thing that it'll ask you for is your assigned census tract number. So if you have those already, you can feel free to enter them when you're practicing. If you don't have an assigned census tract right now, you enter in 9999 or whatever you'd like to, because all entries prior to the count day will be deleted. After that, you'll enter in your phone number and your email address, and then you'll be available to basically start making entries. The next thing that you'll need to know is that this third picture right here, right where it says entries, you see that optical site symbol? That optical site symbol next to like the map image will need to be clicked for every single entry. That's how we pinpoint your location and know where these people are located. Next slide, James. So now we'll go over a few examples. This example is just an individual, it is early 30s on the street. So the first thing you'll do is you'll bubble in confirmed under confirmed or suspected. After that, you'll bubble in individual, no children present. And then under that, you'll bubble in street or outside, given that they're on the street. And under age, you'll bubble in 25 to 34. And then in the very bottom right corner of that second image, you'll see that plus icon. That's how you move on to the next person. Next slide, James. This is a family example. Let's say you see a family of three, where it's two adults over the age of 40 and a child under the age of 18 all living on the street. You do the same process. You'll go confirmed under confirmed or suspected, and then under individual or family, you'd bubble in family this time. And then a new pop-up will appear. It'll say how many total family members. You would type in the number 3, and then proceed to bubble in the age and gender, or actually I think it's just the age now, but just the age of each person in the family. So you'd start with, for example, the child under the age of 18, you'd click under 18. And then if you look on image, let me see if I can find it. Yeah, image 2, there's that little forward pointing arrow with a 1 of 3 at the left of it. You'd click that little forward pointing arrow and you'd move on to the next person. So you'd bubble in the age of, for example, the mom and then the dad. And then after that, it would ask you for your dwelling or vehicle type, and given that they're on the street, you click street or outside. After that, again, you press that plus button in the bottom right corner of the screen, and it moves you on to the next entry. Cool. These are some tips on how to identify vehicles or, inhabited vehicles. We want to maintain a respectful distance, so please don't walk up or knock on the windows or the doors or anything. We just want to observe and mark down on the tally sheet. So some signs to look for are like some fogged windows or partially opened windows, electrical connections or generators outside the vehicle, screens or window coverings, items inside or outside of the vehicle, including household items, bags, clothing, and stuff like that, sounds of music or talking coming from the vehicle, or if the vehicle is in a safe parking location, which may be designated on the map. Juliana, I see your hand raised.
Yes, hi. Quick question. Super random, but I'm trying to choose a track for my team, and it's only giving me the option to choose it and add 2 volunteers, but I know that I have like 3 to 4 people that are going to volunteer. Does that matter?
No, it's just mark those 2 folks down, and if there's like the notes field at the very bottom, just indicate it in the notes that, hey, I have 2 more partners.
Okay.
That'd be perfect.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry, Alex, also, too, it looks like somebody said that they're having some issues with the track selection. It says it's going to be available in January, so it looks like it's not up.
Oh, goodness gracious. I'll go ahead and update that right after this. Let me actually just give me 1 second. I'll just pop it in the chat real quick.
Yeah. And then there's a couple more, Alex. One's how do we create an account in Survey 123? And then there was a second. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, for that one, there's an option at the very bottom of the screen where it says continue without signing in. Go ahead and click that, and that'll get you in.
And then, so say for example, there's no cell service, right? Or let's say there's no signal. How would somebody document the information?
So the app doesn't run off of internet. It's actually satellite, so it should work regardless of whether you have internet connection or not. But in the event that it doesn't, we'll have tally sheets available, and you can mark down on the tally sheet, what you couldn't get in the app, and turn it afterwards.
Yeah, the app stores the location data locally, and then as you return to a place with reception, it then uploads the information.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, as long as essentially once you click that final submit button, once you're done with your tract, as long as you have internet in that portion, you should be fine. Okay. We're on the vehicle slide. So let's say you find a car, RV, or van that appears to be inhabited, based on that previous slide, but you can't really determine. Actually, I think you can determine how many people are on this one. Let's see. No, you can't determine how many people are inside. You start by selecting that suspected button under confirmed or suspected. Just to kind of break down what the difference is between confirmed or suspected. Confirmed is when you physically see someone experiencing homelessness. You can confirm that that's a person experiencing homelessness is the way to think about it, or at least the way I think about it. And suspected is one of those times when it's, again, for example, you see an RV and it's got, a generator outside, it's got, talking coming from the vehicle, but you can't really tell the demographics of the person in the vehicle. So in this case, it's inhabited, but you can't tell who's inside. You start by selecting suspected under confirmed or suspected. And then under dwelling or vehicle type, you select car, RV, or van, depending on, what type of vehicle it is. In this case, it was a car. And then it'll ask you if it's part of an encampment. You'd select no. And after that, it'll ask you for the last 4 digits of the license plate number. And just to be clear, that these last 4 digits are not intended for anything aside from deduplication issues. So we use these to essentially determine if that car has already been counted, and if so, we'd remove one of the entries. And it's never given to code enforcement or any law enforcement. So it's deleted right afterwards. So it's never an issue there. Next slide. This is an encampment example. So to give you a quick definition, an encampment is defined as 2 or more tents or makeshift shelters that are grouped together. So in this example, we observed an individual in his early 20s in a tent, and directly next to this tent was another one with a man in his 70s. So again, you'd start by selecting confirmed under confirmed or suspected. Then you'd go individual under individual or family. Under dwelling or vehicle, you'd select tent or makeshift structure. And then it'll ask you if it's part of an encampment, which you'd say yes. And then for age, you'd bubble in the first person, which was 18 to 24. And then again, you'd press that plus button in the bottom right corner of the screen. And then for the next person, you'd go through the same steps, but instead of bubbling that 18 to 24 age range, you'd bubble in that 65 plus age range. And that's basically how you do an encampment. Next slide. If you can't see the people, so for example, in that previous example, they were standing outside their tents. If they're inside their tents, or you can't really tell, where the person is, or again the demographics, it's a little bit of a simpler process. You'd go ahead and, let's say you're counting 3 tents, you'd go under confirmed or suspected. You'd select suspected. Under dwelling or vehicle, you'd select tent. And under encampment, you'd select yes. After that, you press the little plus button bottom right corner. Do it 2 more times for the 3 tents, and that's your tent encampment. Next slide. This is a brief slide about how to kind of tell what's the difference between a storage tent and a tent intended for human habitation. If you look at those tents with the green check marks above it, you can see that there's no reason to believe that these would be storage tents. All their belongings are, outside or kind of covered, and then, it's just very clear that there's, potentially somebody living inside those. The one with the red X would be a good indicator of a storage tent. If you look closely at the image, you got a little shopping cart kind of hanging out of it. If it's not intended for someone sleeping in it, we shouldn't include it. So tents with shopping carts and a bunch of belongings in it, we wouldn't include that in the point in time count. But the other three where it's very clear that the items are outside of the tent and not inside and just taking up the space, then you can include those. And now that you kind of know how to use the Survey 123 app, we highly recommend you just jump in there and start entering in information and start getting used to how the app works. Maybe potentially even going down your maps and going down those roads and pretending there are folks there and saying, hey, I want to enter in a person right here, I want to enter in a person right here, and just kind of test it out and get comfortable with it, because on the morning of the count, it saves a lot of time if you're already comfortable with the app, and you'll feel good. Off to you, James.
Alrighty. Thanks, Alex. Just a few more slides to kind of wrap up. Just want to kind of circle back and just emphasize that, although, we're committed to doing as thorough of a count as possible, we still want to make sure that safety is our number one priority. Don't take any risks that you're not comfortable doing for the sake of the pit count. We can always, send a team back out to a certain area that you feel isn't safe for you and the team to cover. We also are hoping that teams do not take any photos while in the field and are mindful and respectful of the population, and keeping things as confidential as possible. And then just maintain some general kind of tips of just stay with your teammates, be respectful of those you're counting, and please feel free to call or reach out to your either the deployment. If you're at a deployment center, you'll have a contact number of your deployment center lead, or we'll also have our pit count hotline that you can contact if any questions come up. Obviously, do not advertise your count location, and keep information confidential post-count as well. Do not enter any abandoned buildings or hard-to-access areas unless the team is familiar with those locations. Again, we're banking on a lot of those those type of areas being done by our specialty outreach and service provider teams, so that shouldn't be too much of a concern. And as always, if a true emergency occurs, call 911. Code enforcement kind of throughout the counties have been looped in and are aware of the pit count process and know that it will be occurring on the 29th. So in terms of kind of preparation, if you're working with a team, please keep in contact with your team in advance of the count. Download the smartphone app, the Survey 123. On the day of the count, wear comfortable shoes and clothes. Dress warmly. We do go rain or shine, so plan for that as well. Having a charged cell phone, if you're going to be responsible for the app, is extremely helpful. A flashlight as well. That first hour or so can be a little on the darker side, so plan for that as well. And also, as much as you can, get as much rest as you can the night before the count. So in terms of next steps, again, we kind of touched on it, but everything should be that you need on the pit count website will be available on the pit count website. We'll also be sending out some emails as well to kind of keep everyone looped in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Alex or me. Alex's email is on the screen here. My email is the same, but just James at right there. Did kind of want to walk you through, mention the pit count website several times, but just wanted to kind of show you, when you go there, you're going to have these icons on the screen. And just to kind of clarify, the first one is the volunteer sign up. That is the overall link to register for the pit count. We also have training links. There are two versions. The the first link is this same training that you all just went through that you probably won't need to view again. However, there's also a shorter, like 8 or 9 minute video that I mentioned, which is literally like from the a screen grab recording of a cell phone that will kind of take you through the app process. The track selection tool, which Alex also posted the direct link in the chat. That will take you to the track selection tool where you can assign your track. So just as a reminder, if you have volunteered, you will then need to go through the track selection process. Once you have your track selection, and let's say you're assigned census tract 5, you can then go to the map downloads and find census tract 5 in the map download folder and download your map. Also on the link or on the website here, you'll see the deployment site that has the address to the Veterans Transition Center in Marina. Then you would also need to have the Survey 123 app. You can click on that link to download the app itself. And then the last step is accessing the survey instrument itself, which can be done by scanning the QR code there on the observation link screen, or clicking on a link that will take you directly to the instrument itself.
James, there's a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Is there will people receive a confirmation email or notification once their track is selected or covered?
No, there isn't a confirmation. If you're so once you sign up for that tract, it's yours. If you're worried that something funky may have happened and would like to confirm, shoot us an email and we can just kind of pull up the back end of things and just confirm that with you though. And we're more than happy to do that. With all that, with Juliana, the app itself is from the App Store. It's Esri Survey 123 is what you can kind of enter into the search bar. So with all that said, I think that covers things. Like I mentioned, if you're feeling comfortable and ready to go with everything we've covered, and sign off, Alex, Andrew, and Katrina and I will kind of hang out, and we'll continue to address the questions in the chat. Feel free to hang out, and but just one for joining us, and we'll stick around till 11 answering any questions. Again, thank you so much for your interest in participating in this year's pit count. We're looking forward to having you all join us on the 29th. Thank you, and we'll continue answering any questions that come up in the chat, or feel free to unmute and we can get your questions answered.